Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with a Gaming Twist. I am Clifton, and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. This time we have two very special guests joining us here shortly from the Teeling Distillery. They're going to give us a virtual tour. They are going to do a tasting of a lot of whiskey. There's going to be a lot of whiskey drunk tonight. But we're also going to do some amazing giveaways. So thank you for everyone tuning in live here in the chat. Do want to give a couple shout outs to people I see here in the chat. First of all, our amazing mod crew. I see Brandon. I see Donnie. Brandon's going to be keeping track of super chats tonight, which will get you those giveaway entries, which I mentioned just a few seconds ago. We'll get the details of that very, very soon. I also see some Bite Club members. Shout out to Bourbon Noob. What's up, Patrick? Good to see you, man. How you doing tonight? Don Nishida, of course. Aloha, Don. And some amazing Patreon members. I see Whiskey Mountains. Check out her channel, of course. I think, wow, it's so hard to get caught up. Oh, I see Whiskey Hammer. What's up, Spencer? Good to see you, man. And Emily Chambers, another amazing mod. Welcome, everyone, tonight. Like I said, we have a really fun show tonight. We are going to do something that I love doing. You know, we're finally be able to go to distillery tours, but we can't make it all the way to Ireland. So that's why we have two amazing guests here. I'm going to introduce them right now. First of all, please welcome, well, I'll introduce them together. Why not? Please welcome Frank and Anne-Marie from Teeling. Welcome, guys.
Thank
you.
Hey, guys.
So I am so excited. I actually do not have much experience with Teeling. I actually bought a bottle today of the small batch as kind of an introduction, but I have a lot of samples of a few different ones. So I'm so excited to go through these tonight with you guys, learn a little bit about the distillery, and most of all, just drink good whiskey. So, so you guys want to introduce yourselves? You know, how you guys, what you guys do with Teeling?
Sure, go ahead, Anne-Marie. You go first.
So my name is Anne-Marie. I'm based out of the San Francisco Bay Area, and I am the West Coast brand ambassador for Teeling. So I get a chance to introduce people to the spirit of Dublin, to share drams with folks, and take them virtual distillery tours.
So Anne-Marie's breaking up a little bit there, you guys. Anne-Marie is our West Coast ambassador. She is all Teeling, wonderful person. She's got some great anecdotes she'll go through later. My name is Frank Jakubkin. I run the Western states for Teeling Whiskey. And as I always say, I've been in this industry longer than you've been alive. I love our business with passion. We get to talk and drink whiskey. What a bummer, right? I mean, it's just amazing.
Living the dream.
Living a dream. It's been a dream for 40 years for me in this business. So it's good fun.
That's awesome. We have a lot of Teeling fans in the house tonight. I'm just seeing some comments fly in. Donner Pass. Well, first of all, smash that like button. Yes, hit the like button if you guys are enjoying the show or you're looking forward to a good show tonight. Adriana, our friend of Whiskey Mountain, says that Teeling is her husband's favorite Irish whiskey. Cohen's also saying Teeling Small Batch is the best bang for the buck in Irish whiskey. So these guys are very excited. I know I've been teasing this stream for a while, so I'm so happy to finally bring it together. Like I said, I picked up my first bottle today because one of my favorite go-to drinks is always, like if I want something simple, is always, I guess it's called like an Irish mule, but basically, you know, Irish whiskey, ginger beer, some mint, you know, some lime, and it's my go-to cocktail. So I had to buy a bottle just for this tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Super refreshing. I call it a buck. You know, since we're in Ireland, we're going to go that drought, you know, have some fun with it. Yeah, you can't go wrong with it, you know. Irish whiskey and ginger beer is just so beautiful together. And all our whiskeys are 46 alcohol or above. And what that does is that means that we're not going to get lost in the mixer of the cocktail. The spirit's still going to shine through.
Absolutely. So I did mention we are doing 3 different giveaways tonight. I'm so excited to hear about what you guys are going to give away. I know we already have an entry. So I want to give a shout out to Eric Black. Before I even went live, he sent a super sticker for $20. Well, Eric, that just got you 4 entries because every $5 super chat gets you 1 entry tonight. So thank you so much, Eric, for the super chat. Really appreciate it, man. But yeah, so we're going to give away 3 different prize packs, which I'll let Frank and Anne-Marie introduce to you guys what you can win tonight.
Are you frozen, Anne-Marie, or are you there?
Yeah, no, I'm here. You'll have to forgive me, friends. I'm in the basement of an account in downtown San Francisco because I got stuck in traffic and get home in time for this. So if there's a little noise, you know, I'll mute myself when I'm not talking. But the first prize is La Colombe, which is a coffee company based out of New York. It's a nitro. It's a gift set that includes 2 cans of the vanilla draft latte and 2 Teeling glasses with 2 metal straws. So it's a whole gift that'll include some small bottles of Teeling as well. You'll be able to mix yourself a cold Irish coffee cocktail with custom glasses. So that's the first one, and I'll let Frank talk about the others.
Oh, that's amazing! Such a great kid. I love a good Irish coffee. So that's going to be the grand prize here tonight. We're gonna do 3 different ones. We're gonna draw the first 2 that Frank's about to mention first, and then we're gonna draw that one as the finale here tonight.
So then we'll do, since Clifton is drinking a mule or a buck here tonight, we'll send you 2 Teeling mugs so that you can keep your drink nice and cold or warm, whatever you're drinking out of it. With some 50 mLs that might get snuck in there a little bit. And also some coasters. So make sure you give us the initials. You can have up to 5 initials on a coaster. So you'll get it stamped in for yourself. And then the other ones, you'll get a set of black Glencairn glasses, which are super cool. If you want to do little blind tastings and try to see how good you're getting, because really color doesn't mean anything in the world, because people use the E1, 50. So, take that out and just go with the nose and have some fun with it. So we'll have coasters and black Glencairns, camper mugs with coasters, and then the La Colombe kit.
That's awesome. So stick around to the end of the stream. We're going to do the drawing after we've gone through all the whiskeys, and we're all a little bit happier. So thank you guys. First, I want to give shout outs to all the super chats coming in. You guys are excited. I told you they'd be excited for this. So shout out to Zopher, said, let's do this. Whiskey Hammer also sending a super sticker here. Thank you so much. Steven Sussman says, great stream so far. Well, thank you. My first 8 minutes have gone good so far, I guess. And then Don Nishida says 46% plus ABV is music to my ears. I agree with that, Don. I love a good high proof whiskey. I'm a bit of a proof hound, or other words. I call it by other words when I'm a little drunk, but so I love high proof whiskey. So anything above, honestly, if someone's going to go above 80 proof, I'm going to be happy, because 80 proof is like, you can do a little better than that. Few other ones, super chats coming in. JG says, count me in. I want my whiskey and I want it now. 877 mash now. Cheers to you, JG. Thank you so much for your entry. And Donnie, the Linux Cat, says, thanks for being on, Teeling. I hope I win something. Well, Donnie, I hope you win something too. So we're gonna spin our wheel of whiskey, which is how I do my giveaways here at the end of the stream. But yeah, you guys keep the super chats flowing. Of course, if you guys have any questions for either Frank or Anne Marie during the stream, please feel free to ask them. Especially if you send a super chat, I will definitely feature your message here on the screen, just so we don't miss it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. We should definitely pour something before we get into the distillery tour. So what should we pour first, Frank?
I think we got to go with our flagship whiskey. Let's drink the Teeling small batch.
Let's do it.
This won last year in Ireland, the #1 blended Irish premium whiskey. And this is aged for up to 7 years, 5 years in bourbon barrels, 2 years in Central American rum casks. So when you smell it, you're going to get a beautiful rum raisin nose. And this is a blend of both corn and malted barley that comes into this.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that nose is just jumping out of the glass here. It's definitely, I like to say I don't know too much about Irish whiskey, but I like Irish whiskey. So I feel like I haven't had much experience outside of the standard Irish that you typically see. So trying something completely new to me, I would not guess off the nose that this was an Irish whiskey. I guess to me, it's very like, man, those flavors, it's almost like an American whiskey on the nose.
Well, you got to remember, the Irish and the Scots are the ones that started the American whiskey craze. So yes, we have very similar profiles there. But at Teeling, and by the way, this is our 6th birthday this week. So
happy birthday. That's awesome.
We're very happy about that. And so we can't compete with the big guys. They have an ocean of whiskey laid down. We have somebody's backyard swimming pool. So we're not going to compete with price or promotion. We can only compete with one thing, and that's flavor. And I like to say, we don't make great Irish whiskey. We do not. We make great whiskey in Ireland. And what you'll see tonight as you go through the whole progression of lineup is there's a whiskey for every person or every occasion that you want to drink, when you're at home with. So we'll have some fun as we go through them all here tonight.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of variety here. I think that was one of the things that I noticed the most about you guys is I forget you don't use untraditional. There's a certain word that you guys use all of your marketing. It's
unconventional.
Unconventional. There we go. And I have to agree. You guys, like, I mean, this lineup is so interesting. Some of them I don't really. I would love to find out the differences from you between the different ones, because there are some very nerdy terms involved. I mean, a lot of us know, what pot still means and things like that, but I think people, at home may not know. So I'm hoping this stream helps them learn, which, if they're going to try one bottle of Teeling, which one's right for them. So that's what I'm excited to get into the tour here and talk about not only the distillery, but these amazing expressions.
All right. I'm going to share the screen with you guys.
First of all, shout out to the Raw Gut Review. Oh, sorry, Anne-Marie, go ahead.
Oh, no, not at all. I was going to just say, while Frank is pulling that up, it's worth, mentioning, as you had just said about Irish whiskey, that for the longest time, Irish whiskey in people's minds was light, fruity, inoffensive, easier to drink than Scotch, and distilled. These were really effective marketing slogans. So we'll talk more about that as we get into the distillery. But part of Teeling's whole message is Irish whiskey is incredibly robust and complex and flavorful, and this is what it is. So we'll talk more about it as we walk through.
Oh, that's awesome. Do want to give a shout out to our friend Ed and Erica at the Raw Gut Review. They took a bit of a hiatus from Whiskey Tube. They came back tonight. If y'all missed their stream earlier, go check out the replay. They drink a lot of Irish whiskey. So hopefully you guys are enjoying some good Irish whiskeys. Let me know in the chat what you guys are drinking. Maybe if you have some Teeling, let me know which Teeling you're drinking. Let me pull that up for you, Frank. Okay, Frank, I see your screen, so we are good to go with the tour.
All right. So I like to show this part of the sky right now, you guys, because this is not Ireland. They took this on the best day of the year. Usually it's gray and gloomy, but what I want you, the pictures were here. That first day of rain where the grass smells and the concrete, all those smells quaff up. That's what Ireland smells like every day. Mm-hmm. So that's why I love to show this picture. Also, our original distillery was just 500 kilometers down the road down here, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But this is Teeling Distillery, you guys, right here.
I love the building. It's beautiful.
So as you take a look here, you guys, you're going to see the Teeling Distillery. You see this phoenix up top. The phoenix is coming out of the pot still. And the reason for that is we were the first distillery that opened in Dublin in 125 years, and the first to make whiskey in Dublin since 1976. And we'll get a little more of that part of it a little bit later as it comes in. But we first started making whiskey in 1782, the Teeling family. And with the demise of Irish whiskey, we went down too, and we'll go through that here in a little bit. So as we head in, I want you to notice these black barrels that are here. They're all around Dublin. And when you're in Dublin, you're drinking with your mates. If one of you gets, separated, all you have to do is follow the map on the top of the barrel, and it'll take you back to this distillery. And this is your special place to be able to meet up again.
Sounds like a good plan.
Frank mentioned that we're the first distillery open in 125 years. But something that's so cool about that is that this distillery was designed with the visitor experience in mind. So if you go to any other distilleries in Ireland, you might not be able to see all of the things you can see in the Teeling Distillery, because we built this so that you can peek behind the curtain at every step of the way, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
So one of the things is when Jack and Stephen opened up the distillery, Ireland was in the middle of a deep recession, and this area of the H, that'd be like our zip code here in the United States, was really depressed. And there wasn't, things like coffee shops and that. So they put in a coffee shop. So during the day, you're going to see grandmas having tea, or the moms groups here with the kids running around. And people will use the pub, which we'll see, the Bang Bang room later on. They come to the pub after work and have a beer, or have, one of our famous Irish coffees as they come along. So when you come in, you're going to check in here. We have different types of tours to take you guys on. And then you're going to head over towards the museum. And so this is kind of fun. You get to hang out and come around as you're in here. So, of course, this is the spirit of Dublin. And that term isn't something that we coined, is what the locals named us, because we were the first distillery to come back into Dublin. We could have gone out to, the outer areas of like here in California, would be out to something like Modesto, where it's way cheaper than doing inside of San Francisco. Well, that's what the boys did here. They went inside of San Francisco. But as we get into a little history, what you see here is the Golden Triangle. And Ireland sold 60% of all brown spirits in the world was Irish. 70% of all brown spirits in the United States was Irish until a few things happened. But here in the Golden Triangle, this right here, this is outside the walls of the city of Dublin. And there were 34 distilleries in here. And this is where you would find Jameson and John Roe & Co. and the Powers and all that, and Guinness. And so you're able to do things at liberty. There weren't the rules that they had inside the walls. So you would find leather tanners or grains and things that weren't totally legal going on out here back then as it goes through. And you can see there's still parts of the wall here today in Dublin. You can go around the city and the walled city is still there. But we'll run through a real quick history for you guys. What happened to Irish whiskey is a few things. First, Father Matthews started a temperance movement and swore 1 in 3 people off of drinking spirits. Not of drinking, just spirits. So the country went from a spirit country to a beer country. And then you had Aeneas Coffey invent the coffee still or the column still. And the Irish said, no, we triple distill everything, which is a slow, methodical method versus 24/7. And the Scots said, we'll take that. And they started laying down whiskey like crazy. And then they fought for their independence from England and lost 50% of their trade routes. And finally, Prohibition did us in the fact that the moonshine folks would put bootstrap polish, fill up the bottles of Irish whiskey because it was supposed to be the best. And people were having problems with it, like we all know about. So they said, no, we're not going to drink Irish whiskey anymore. So we went from 204 distilleries to 1.5 in one person's lifetime.
1.5? What does that mean?
So the half was this. So what happened there is Bushmills was running 2 experimental stills 2 days a week. So that's your half. One was the farmers of Ireland said, wait a minute, our whole economy is collapsing. Where are we going to sell our grains? We got to sell it to somebody. So the government went to Jameson and Roe & Co. and Powers and Patty and said, all right, you guys, you're all going to make your whiskey in Middleton at Irish Distillers. So these companies that have been fierce rivals for hundreds and hundreds of years are now making whiskey in the same place. So Bushmills was there. All these people were there down in Middleton, all Irish whiskey. So that was the 1.5 of the experimental stills up in Northern Ireland. And then along comes John Teeling in 1984, and he goes to Harvard Business School and gets his doctorate in Irish whiskey. The rise, the fall, and how to rise it again. So he comes back in 87. He buys Kilbeggan and Cooley, and that's right on the border of Northern Ireland. And at that time, there was a civil war going on, and everyone's like, John, they're going to blow you up. You can't do this. He's like, no, the Irish love to drink. They'll leave us alone. And they did. And then along comes this little company called Beam that wanted to sell to Suntory, but they said, you're just a bourbon house. You have to be a whiskey house. So they went around the world trying to buy whiskeys, and they came to us and they made us an offer we couldn't refuse. Well, Jack and Stephen, they said, hey, they've grown up in this business. They weren't ready to get out of it. So they opened up Teeling instead.
Gotcha.
But before we see Jack and Stephen, Anne-Marie, you want to tell them about the fire real quick?
I think she dropped off. Maybe she's trying to fix her connection a bit. So
you got it.
Yeah.
All right. So the Great Dublin Fire is the reason we can't age whiskey inside of Dublin anymore. So Mill House caught on fire, and there was a rick house right next to it. They all started to go up in flames, and waves of whiskey went rolling down the streets. 12 people died.
Wow.
Not because of the fire, Clifton, because they got too drunk. They were just dipping their boots in and drinking, and they got too smashed. So you're not allowed to age whiskey, which we will show you some barrels later on, but it's not like what you would think, the amount that we would have. We age our whiskey at green ore. And then when you come in, you'll see some really cool little items over here telling you the history of Ireland and that. And as we come here, this is Jack and Stephen. So this is Jack here and Stephen here. They're the brothers that own Teeling Whiskey. You'll see Jack's signature on every bottle of Teeling Whiskey as it goes. And this is a good time actually to move to the next whiskey.
Okay.
So let's do the single grain. And the single grain is 95% corn, 5% barley. So single grain is a hard thing to kind of get your head around a lot of times, you guys, because it's not what most people think it is.
Right.
What it is single hard stop, meaning one house only, Teeling, and grain, any grain that is not barley. All right.
Okay.
So if I wanted to have rye and sorghum and corn, I could still call it a single grain. Even though that's not what we do. We make this with the bourbon drinker palate in mind. And this spends 6 years of its life in a Napa Valley Cabernet barrel. So you'll see that red color of that whiskey is because it's from the wine barrel that it comes over. So it's French oak in that barrel. And this is also the oiliest whiskey in the world. So if you take a little whiskey and pour it into your hand and then rub your hands together, it feels like lotion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't just go away immediately. It lingers around.
Yeah. It won't be sticky because we add nothing to our whiskey. We don't put any coloring or anything to our whiskey. It's all natural. What the barrel gives you is what you get, and that's it. And this goes into Rombauer, Frank, and Colgan barrels is what we're putting it in. So when you smell this one, you're going to get that sweet vanilla from the French oak. You also get some bright red fruit coming through that you normally don't see in Irish whiskey.
Oh, wow. That one is like a lot more, I guess the mouthfeel of it's a lot more like viscous. Like, I mean, again, rubbing it on our fingers, but even in the mouth, you can tell it's got some heft to it. It's definitely. And now, what makes that? Is that because of its single grain, or is that just because the combination of the wine, or what makes it so thick and viscous in the mouth?
It's the amount of oil, because we don't chill filter any of our whiskey. So when you chill filter a whiskey, think of it this way: any whiskey that's 40 alcohol has been chill filtered, because otherwise, if it gets cold, it'll throw protein. Little white globs will float in the bottle, and the consumer wouldn't know what that is. It just means flavor, but they would think, oh, it's a bad whiskey. So they chill filter it down to 40. When you chill filter, think of it like a pot of chicken soup. You put it in the refrigerator overnight, you get that fat cap. If you strip the fat cap away, you strip all the flavor out. So we leave all those fats in there. So fatty acids combined with phenolic acids, and those are phenols. And of course, Clifton, phenols mean flavor. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have here. We can build these big, bold flavors because this doesn't go through the pots. This is a column still for us. We put this through a column still. And most column still whiskey, people don't think it has that big of a flavor profile, but because we put it in that Napa Valley Cabernet barrel, it gets a big one. And also, one of the things that we do with our barrels is we bring them over whole. So most of the time, like a bourbon barrel, they break them down, shrink wrap them, and put 2,000 in a container and ship them over to Ireland, Scotland, to the Caribbean, wherever they're going. We bring them over whole, which means we can put 98 in a container. So the cost is a lot more, but we don't want it just to be a cardboard box. We want it to add that flavor of that barrel. That's why we're using those barrels. So we have them ship it with 6 liters of product in it. By the time it goes from Napa to Ireland, there's about 1 to 2 liters left. And at that point in time, they dump that out and then they fill it up with the whiskey, and all those things come together. So you're going to get the tannins of that big Cabernet coming through in it.
Oh, yeah. Our friend Ed said he loves it. Oh, he said he loves the Teeling single grain. I think it stands up to single grains that are 3 times the age. So he's a big fan of that. What was that, Anne-Marie?
I was just going to say, to your point about the oily texture and the viscosity of this whiskey, corn compared to barley, for example, just has more sugar. It grows faster. It's an oilier grain than barley. So you might notice, texturally, when you taste this next to a single malt, that there is just so much more body. And when you roll the glass, it's got stiffer legs.
Oh, yeah. Like I think the interesting thing is even though it has all that heftiness, it has like a lightness to it. It has like a floral kind of sweetness to it. That's something that I don't think I've typically get from an Irish whiskey. So that's really unique, and I think it's something really complex. I mean, I'm looking at the price of it. It's only, at least in my area, again, this is all varies depending where you guys are. This one is only $47 in Southern California. I think it drinks a lot. As Ed was saying, it drinks like a lot more higher end whiskey.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Ed, for you, Ed, I love to drink this whiskey in the summertime with a beer back. So a sip and savor, a sip of beer, a sip of whiskey, sip of beer, a sip of whiskey. And when your wife says, how many drinks have you had today? You can say 4, because a beer and a whiskey counts as 1, not 2. So it's not 8 drinks, it's only 4. It's a great Saturday afternoon around the barbecue.
Our friend Jim Morse just poured the Teeling single malt. I think we're getting to that here shortly. Jim.
Yeah, Jim, do you want to do it? We'll talk about that right now, in fact.
Let's do it, yeah.
So this whiskey, Jack went to our master distiller, Alex Chasco, and said, I want you to make a whiskey that will show the world that Irish single malt is just as wonderful and flavorful as Scotch. And Alex will tell you that this is the whiskey that made him lose all his hair. Because this is not just finished in 1 or 2 casks. This whiskey sits in 5 different wine-influenced casks, which is pretty amazing. There's a range of age here. So this is 100% malted barley. We're not peating the malt at all, so it's not smoky. But this is 9 to 3 years old.
What was the age? Sorry, I missed that part.
Sorry, 9 to 23. So it's a range because there is some variation here. But the oldest whiskey spent all 23 years of its maturation in Oloroso sherry casks. So this is not a finished whiskey. It's 5 components that come together into what we have in the bottle. So the 23-year-old component is an exclusive maturation in Oloroso sherry. And the other 4 casks are a minimum of 9 years in ex-bourbon, and then an additional 2+ years in port, Madeira, white Burgundy or Chardonnay, and Napa Valley Cabernet. We're getting a little bit of everything here, right? And I love that.
That's what I was saying. You guys are going all out with everything. Yeah.
Again, it's about creating flavor. A chef builds flavor upon flavor, and that's what we're going for here too. We're trying to build those flavors as much as we can.
Oh, I'm sitting here just enjoying the nose on this. This one, honestly, I mean, I think all of that, those red wine casks, the sherry, the port, it all shines through. Like that's really, really, like, I mean, I would almost, these people know I love a good, some of my favorite Scotch is actually both port for one, but also some Oloroso sherry cask strength Scotches. This has as big and bold of a nose as some of those releases, and it's only 46% ABV. That's crazy to me that it's so intense.
Isn't that great? So I like to use these watch glasses. I don't know if you can see this on it. So you put them on, and I'll drink this whiskey over 4 or 5 days. I'll fill it up, and every day I'll come and taste, and it keeps changing and changing and changing. And at the end, I'm always like, man, I wish I had a little more in my glass, because I just love how it changes as it goes.
That's awesome. I don't have those, but I do have, oh man, my lighting's not set up for this. Bourbon Bites challenge coins if anyone wants to purchase one tonight. Thanks for the segue, Frank.
Perfect.
But these challenge coins, I do set on top of my Glencairns. They fit perfectly on top of them to serve a similar purpose, to let you savor the whiskey over time. You don't want it to, evaporate. You want it to stay in the glass. So if you're interested in a Bourbon Bites challenge coin, all you have to do is send a $20 Venmo to me at Bourbon Bites. You have to search for businesses, but then I should show up under businesses at Bourbon Bites, and shoot me your address, and I will get this coin out to you. Sorry, I had to still do that little promo there.
That's the perfect segue.
Yeah, well, also while we're about at the halfway point here, just want to remind folks we are doing 3 giveaways tonight. We are giving away an Irish coffee set. We are giving away a coaster and glass set from Teeling that they've graciously offered for tonight. So all you guys have to do is send a $5 super chat, just like JG did right here. Let's get this rolling again. Irish Whiskey Cheers. Every $5 super chat gets you an entry into tonight's giveaway. We're going to spin the wheel of whiskey at the end. We're going to do 3 different drawings, and we're going to have 3 different winners here tonight. So get your super chats in now to be entered. All right.
So let's head into the distillery, you guys.
Yes.
And right now, I just want you to imagine this as you're coming through. as you're in the museum part, it's just like a normal business. But when you get close to this door and they open it up, the air that's quaffing through, you're going to smell fermentation. You're going to smell the distillates. It's going to be really loud. It's super hot. And you know you're going somewhere different. And when they design this, they want you to see everything. They want you to understand what they're doing, what it's all about. And so let's head on into the distillery right now.
And before we get too deep in it, I want to speak to Jim's comment. He said, I had no idea Teeling used so many casks. We use over 100 different cask types, over 7 different genuses of wood, which is really remarkable. And Alex Chasko, our master distiller, dedicates 1/3 of his time just to experimentation, just to trying out different kinds of yeasts and different kinds of grain, like crystal rye and chocolate malt and South African white wine yeast, like we'll talk about when we get into our fermentation. But a lot of experimentation going on at Teeling.
That's awesome. By the way, your video got so much better just now. I don't know what you did, but I like it. I think it signals a bit better, but it looks good.
So now outside we keep our grains, and we bring them in and we mill on site. Now, people milling can be very dangerous because it's this fine powder. It's highly flammable. So you don't find this in many distilleries. I mean, we have the stills going here that are firing up. But the reason we can do that is we do something different that most houses don't do, and we wet mill. So we're infusing water at the same time that we're grissing our grain. And so we're going to have more of like a, almost like an oatmeal as it goes in. But here, this is a good time to do the single pot.
Okay, let's do it.
And it's worth mentioning.
Oh, go ahead.
So sorry that the wet mill is from the beer brewing industry. The beer brewers do this, but whiskey makers don't really. And our master distiller, Alex Chasko, is from the beer brewing industry originally before he got his degree in distillation at Harriet Watt.
Oh,
sorry to interrupt.
Cool. No, you're fine. So you said, is this the one that I have on my sample labeled pot still? Is that the same one? Okay.
The blue color label, the Dublin blue.
I don't have the bottle, so I just have a little sample of it. But I assume that's probably, it's pot still. Okay, perfect. Well, while I poured that, there is a question in the chat. Eric Black wants to know, what is your favorite Teeling expression for both of you guys?
Oh, I have 4 sisters, Eric, and that's like asking which sister do I like the best. To me, I go all over the place. Like, I drink a lot of the small batch because I love to make cocktails. Mm-hmm. I like to sip on something in the middle of the week. But like when it's hot outside, I do the single grain with the beer back. The single malt, that's my reading whiskey. The pot stills, when I want to show off to my friends and show them something just so awesome, I pull that out. And then Blackpitts, which we'll talk about later, is just, my favorite way to drink that is on raw oysters. Instead of a vignette, you pour the whiskey on it. It tastes like you have a barbecued oyster that's raw. It's just fabulous.
Oh my God, that sounds, I love oysters. I've never put whiskey on an oyster, but now I definitely want to do that. Too bad I only get them when I'm out eating at restaurants. I don't know if that would be appropriate just to like order a glass of whiskey and just dump it. But you know what? I might do it for you, Frank. What about you, Anne-Marie? Which one's your favorite?
The single grain is my everyday sipper, and I really love it with coconut, with a fresh coconut if you can find one. That's my favorite pairing. But some of our special editions, we've got a Brabazon series that are exclusively aged in, edition 1 is sherry, and edition 2 is port, and it's various different kinds of port, white port, ruby, and tawny port, and all the whiskey ages in those port casks. And I just love those, but also the chestnut. And we'll talk about that when we get into the maturation space. But one of our single casks was finished for 2 years in a chestnut barrel, and it's just mind-blowing.
Actually, I have a very tiny sample of that one, so I'm so excited to try that one when we get to talking about that. I got that one, and I also have a tiny of the PX as well. I think they were both like very small releases.
So, Anne-Marie, you want to tell them about single pot and the grains right here?
Sure. So we're looking in those jars at unmalted barley on the left and malted barley on the right. They're both the same grain. Malted barley has just been tricked into germinating. So we get it wet, it grows a shoot and a root, and then you have to stop that process of growth so it doesn't become a plant. And we're just maximizing the sugar that the yeast can eat in fermentation for the beer that we're going to put into the stills to make our whiskey. So why would you use unmalted barley? It doesn't have as much sugar as malted barley. Well, it's taxation. The British put a tax on malt, and the Irish tried to stick it to the British, and so they started using unmalted barley to avoid that tax. But what does it do for flavor? Well, the unmalted barley grain is almost more like a rye. It's a bit spicier. It's a harder, greener, grassier, oilier grain than the malted barley, and it's a bit harder to work with. But texturally, what it's going to do for that pot-stilled whiskey is give it a bite and give it a toothiness. So, it's biting you back as you're chewing on it, kind of. It's got like a ginger snap sort of a spice and a lot of body here. Pot-stilled whiskey and single malt are both made of barley, but the difference is the measure of unmalted barley. So the legal definition is that a pot-stilled whiskey must be a minimum of 30% malted barley, 30% unmalted barley, and that remaining 40% can be any combination of either malted or unmalted with a maximum of 5% of any additional grain. So we're just doing 50-50, 50 malted, 50 unmalted, and we're using 3 different cask types to bring out a lot of flavor and color here. So this is the only expression we're using some virgin American oak, that first full barrel like they use in bourbon, to get some of those familiar vanillins and some color. Ex-bourbon, and then Oloroso sherry casks as well to add some complexity here. So Redbreast is another example of a pot-stilled whiskey. That's a 12-year-old, delicious, wonderful pot still. Ours is youthful. It's not quite as old. So I would say, try to avoid comparing this whiskey to other pot stills you might have tried before. But this is really significant because it's the first single pot stilled whiskey that wasn't produced at Middleton, where the spots are made, Powers, Jameson. So this is really a piece of history, that this is the first pot stilled whiskey to be made in Dublin since 1976.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Because like I said, my experience with Irish whiskey was very limited before. Like I said, Middleton's basically my experience with Irish whiskey. So to get to branch out tonight and try these different ones, I think that's really interesting. Now, this one, you mentioned that it's virgin oak and ex-bourbon cask. I think that's what's shining here. While the other one was super fruity, this one has those typical, notes that you would expect from a bourbon cask. It has the vanilla. It has a bit of the oak, a lot more than I got on any of the other ones. So if you like that, if that's more your alley, if you don't like the, heavily sherried ones, I think this one, even though this does have some sherry cask, I think this may be the one for you.
It is so much fun. And the buttery creaminess of it is just amazing.
Holy crap. Ed sent a $50 super chat. He really wants those coasters and glasses. I don't speak Irish. Slante is, I don't even know how to pronounce that, but I know it means cheers. Cheers to you, Ed. If anyone here can translate, Ed, if you could just translate. Sláinte, yes.
I don't speak Irish, but I think that what that was saying was, cheers, my friends. The whiskey of Ireland is king or God or the best.
That's way better than I would have done, and I bet that sounds right. So Ed, let her know if she's right, because that sounds right. Cheers to you, Ed.
Very nice. All right, so here's our mash tun. This is our lauter tun that we bring it on in here, and we make our beer, or make our wort so we can make beer. And then we're going to head over to our fermentation, and we use 2 different types of fermentation. The first is this Oregon pine or Douglas fir, and then we start that with a white wine yeast from South Africa. And people will say, why do you do that? Well, one of the reasons is that Irish whiskey is very fruit forward, where Scottish whiskey is very cereal forward. So by doing that white wine yeast, we can bring out a lot of these flavors that are really unique in Irish whiskey and help exemplify, to have them there. So we'll get it to about 3 alcohol, and then we'll bring them to the back still fermenters back here, which then will take us up to 8 or plus alcohol from back here.
It's pretty unusual to see both wood and stainless steel too.
I was going to say, yeah,
wood, there's a lot more of the yeast that lives.
Yeah, I think I've only been to Kentucky once. I've only done distillery tours like once in my life, but we went to a lot while we were there. But like you said, usually you just see one or the other, right? You either see the wood style or the stainless steel. So what was, I guess you kind of touched on it a little bit, but like, what's the reason to have both? Just for the different expressions, basically?
To build flavors, it's like building a roux. The longer you cook it.
Gotcha.
So what's going to happen by having that yeast
And we
and
get
then
a
having
roll.
the yeast will get stay alive in the wood. So when you put the next batch in, you bring consistency with it, but you also are building these flavors. And the reason you don't see a lot of people use two different ones are accountants, because every time you move something, you lose product and it costs you money. So they're like,
Gotcha.
no, we'll either do wood or we'll do stainless steel, but we don't do both. But we'll do both because we want to give you the best tasting whiskey we can get our hands on.
Awesome. Very cool. So we have 3 more whiskeys to try here tonight. Are we good to move on to another one? So I know you guys may not have all of these. I have Blackpitts, and like I said, I have the Chestnut Cask, which we were talking about a little bit earlier, and I have a PX Sherry. If you guys happen to have that one, but just let me know which one.
Let's do the PX Sherry next.
Let's do it. And now this one says 14 year. This is a single cask. Was this like a pick kind of situation?
That's correct. This was a Total Wine and More pick.
Gotcha.
So it's a 14-year-old, 100% single malt.
Mm-hmm.
And for the sherry fans in the house, it's just so much fun to be able to do.
Oh, I'm a big sherry fan. I'm really looking forward to this one. That's why I got this sample a while back. But I'm like, I gotta save this. I gotta save it and do it for a stream and do it with you guys. That's why I reached out. So for those you don't know, I told a couple of you, but I almost spilled my whiskey. That would have been very sad. So I got these sample kits a while back ago. Our local group was doing a virtual tasting out here in Los Angeles. Shout out to the Los Angeles Bourbon and Whiskey Guild. I think they are now. So I got this kit. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make their tasting, but I knew I wanted to save it for a special occasion. So I reached out to these guys, and they very so generously came on tonight, offered some amazing prizes for our giveaway, which we're drawing in 10 minutes, by the way. So get your super chats in. Every $5 is one entry. But first of all, I just want to say thank y'all again for the opportunity to drink this with someone other than just by myself, because I've been saving this for a special occasion.
All right.
What I love about our single casks is they're walk through the rack house with him. He's drilling into each barrel with a hand drill, and you're catching it in your glass, and that's how you get to taste it in the rack house, which is so unique. So this is second best thing is us doing this together now. But this is 12 years in the ex-bourbon, 2 years in the PX Sherry, and it's not proofed down from cask strength, right? This is a 51.8 or so.
Oh, this was
54.3.
And you'd never know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you'd never know it when you taste it, because it's just got so much just bursting with flavor and texture. You're not blown away by the alcohol. Am I right?
Oh, wow. Wow. Now, I know this is a single release. What would that have gone for, like price wise?
You can actually still find a couple in Northern California, and it's $114 a bottle.
I'm glad to hear that, because I was going to say this drink's just as good, if not maybe a little better, than some of the new cask strength Redbreast and the new Blue Spot that are both $100 that just came out. This is on par, if not better than that. And those are both at $100. So this sounds right on track. I mean, this is absolutely worth that. That's delicious.
That is really nice. I'm so glad that you wanted to do this tonight, because I love opening that bottle and drinking it. And I just love the color behind it too.
Oh, wow. Well, I am drinking from a black glass, so I can't see the color. Which, funny story, I was telling Frank this earlier. So Anne-Marie actually sent me 2 glasses of Teeling. Thank you so much for that. But actually, so when I was on the way home from work today, I was like, I want to have a full bottle because I want to make a cocktail. So I stopped in my local liquor store, and none other than Teeling was doing a tasting at that very moment after work at the liquor store. So I, of course, was like freaking out. I was like, oh my God, I was telling them. Unfortunately, she didn't know who you guys were. I think she may be new or something like that. But she like gave me 2 Glens. And now this is before Anne-Marie's package arrived. So I was like, oh, I knew she was going to send them. Maybe it was late. But I got home. So I got both your package and 2 additional Glens from that brand rep. So now I have 4 Teeling glasses. Now we're giving these away tonight. So let me tell y'all, they are awesome. These are so cool. Y'all did a really good job. Was this released with the Blackpitts?
That's correct. Yes, released with the Blackpitts.
And they're perfect for like a blind flight. I mean, I know you guys keep talking about color. I'm like, I can't see it. But there are some occasions where these dark ones are beneficial, especially when you're doing a blind flight, which we do a lot of here on this channel. So like I said, if you guys want to enter that, every $5 super chat that comes through tonight, we're going to do the drawing at about 7:57-ish. We're going to do all 3 drawings then. So you guys still have another 10 minutes to to get your super chats in. But man, that PX Sherry Cask is amazing. That's honestly best thing I've tried all night, but obviously with the price.
So our stills, we have 3 stills, Allison, Natalie, and Rebecca. And one of the things that are really unique about the distillery is normally you'd have a floor that would come right around here, because the shape of the still, that this part down here and the volume, distilleries want to keep that a secret from the other distillers, because the shape of the still gives you different flavors. Where we're like, no, we want to show everybody everything. We want you to know what we're doing, how we're going about it. And so when you're there, you're right up. You're just feet from these stills. The heat's going, everything's having fun. You're going to see it bubbling up inside here. And so, Clifton, why is it called beer, wine, and spirit? Why isn't it beer, wine, and alcohol? That'd be more appropriate. Does any of your people know why it's called the spirit?
I couldn't tell you.
So this gentleman that you guys might know by the name of Aristotle said you put the body into the still, meaning the beer or the wine, that's the body, and alcohol vaporizes at 174, water at 212, and as that alcohol vaporizes, it's this ghostly white vapor coming up off of the body. So he said the spirit is leaving the body, hence we call it spirit.
Ah, I like that. That's cool. Very fun.
And then the
fun whiskey
Ishbaha or water of life that comes off is now the water from that still. And here you can see it coming out of from the Rebecca still right here.
Oh, that's really cool. Shout out to Chris. Chris says, mash that like button, get his next entry in for the giveaway. Cheers to you, Chris, and cheers to you, JG. I know it came in a minute earlier. So, wow. So I do see that. It's like you said, it's like a milky white.
Yeah, so no color can come through the stills. And you can see here with Allison, see the coppery look to it? That's where the most impurities are coming through. And then each time we're getting less and less until we get over here. So that's another one of the reasons. We don't totally triple distill. We do double distill of things also.
Gotcha.
But I know we don't have a ton of time, so let's head on in. Now, like I said before, we're not allowed to age our whiskey here in Dublin, so we try to give you that experience a little bit while you're at the distillery so you can see. And some of the barrels like port pipes and the bourbon barrels that are in here. But what I really like is this one right here, is to show you this. And this is the wall of color, the wall of flavor. So on your left, this is poutine. This is white dog. This is moonshine. Right off the still, not a day old. We fill the barrel and it's clear as can be. This next one over is Irish whiskey. This is 3 years in 1 day. And so to be Scotch, it has to be 3 years. The Irish were 3 years in a day. And then this is our small batch, our flagship whiskey. So this is up to 7 years old. And then you have a 24-year-old on this one here. And you can see how it gets lower and lower. So people wonder why it gets so expensive. Well, it's because the amount of whiskey you have left in it. By the way, our 24-year-old was the first Irish whiskey ever to win the #1 single malt of the year.
Oh, wow.
If you find the bottle.
Oh yeah, let me highlight you real quick so they can see that bottle real quick. How do I always forget how to do that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, wow, that's a beautiful bottle.
Yeah. So if you're out and about and you find one in a store, it's a unicorn now since it's won. And originally it was about $400 a bottle. So hopefully that's what you pay for it and somebody's not, bringing it up.
Awesome. There's a couple questions coming I want to address before I forget them. Eric is asking, what can you guys tell us about the 29-year-old Teeling? I haven't heard of that one. Was that a special release?
Special release. 36 bottles came to the West Coast. Eric, if you have one of the 29-year-olds, please reach out to me and I will come over to your house, open it, and show you how to drink it with you.
Wow, only 36 bottles made it to the West Coast.
Yes. So very, very small production. We're going to have a 30-year-old coming out later this year. That 24 bottles will come to the West Coast.
Wow. So very, very limited. I don't even want to ask how much those are because I imagine they are up there. Brandon asks, do you guys do any specialty tours available? I guess he's talking about like on site. Some distilleries just have one tour. Do you guys have more detailed, more in-depth tours, or do you just have one tour?
Absolutely. We have a whole a whole menu of tours that you can do. And if you reach out to Anne Marie or myself, so you guys go to Clifton and he'll set us up. Let us help you out, take care of you over there so we can make sure you get the best tour possible.
Oh, yeah. You guys just email me contact@bourbonbites.com. And like I said, I'll get you their contact information if you're planning a trip to head over that way.
And we'll tell you our favorite pubs to go to. We'll tell you, all the fun things to see. And we'll get you a great tour when you're here at the distillery. And hopefully Jack or Steven or Alex Chaskell will be around, can say hi to you when you guys are there.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, let's talk about this chestnut. We've been teasing the chestnut all night. Let's. I know you showed me a photo of it before. I don't know if you have it pulled up of that actual cask of the actual barrel. You showed it to me a bit before. I know this was like a couple days ago, so no worries if you don't have it here. But
I do.
Okay, cool.
So this is a barrel that was originally used for PX brandy, for Spanish brandy. And that's Alex Chaskell, our master distiller, standing there next to that black barrel. It's black because it's saturated. Chestnut is so soft that the whiskey leaks all the way through it, which means that we're losing a lot of that to evaporation. But we're getting a lot of flavor from that barrel as well.
Wow, that is so dark. I'm so excited to try this one. I mean, I don't think I've ever had anything that's used a chestnut cask ever.
Well, Scotch American whiskey, they've got...
Go ahead, Emery, sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I know my connection's not great here. Scotch and American whiskey have got to be aged in oak by law, but Irish whiskey has that loophole of being aged in wood, for example, oak. So that's why we're able to use so many different kinds of casks. And besides the Spanish with brandy and sherry in PX, which is not done very often, the only other spirit I know of that uses chestnut was cognac at one point in time, but then they came through with a law that forbade that, so it's no longer legal to use chestnut, because chestnut is so impactful to the spirit. It makes such a huge impact. It really changes it.
Oh my gosh, I was going to say the nose on this is incredible. Whoa. That is...
Wait until you taste it.
Oh man, I'm so looking forward to tasting this. This smells absolutely delicious. Now, was this one of those limited releases that people probably can't get anymore?
Yeah, it did come out in the West Coast, and if you find one around, definitely snatch it up because this is so fantastic. But texturally, what that chestnut does to the whiskey, I like to say it's like a canal of butterscotch pudding. If you take 2 spoons and you make a canal,
wow,
that's the impression you get when you put this whiskey on your tongue.
Now this one I have right here is 55.1% ABV. I will say this does drink the hottest of them all, but y'all know me, that's not a bad thing. That it definitely coats your mouth, it coats your tongue. Was there an age statement on this? Oh no, there is 13 years. Okay. I was going to say it does remind me, again, very limited knowledge of, Irish whiskey, but I have had some 20-year-old and 27-year-old Redbreast. It has one of those like little hints of that. There's a certain note that I get on those really well-aged Irish whiskeys that I think comes through on this one too. That's really interesting. Wow. It fills your mouth. It's mouth coating for sure.
Literally, it's my second favorite barrel I've ever tasted.
Oh man. I like it, but I think the nose is my favorite part of it. I mean, it's delicious. Don't get me wrong, but that nose I want a candle and I want it like to burn all the time in my house. That smells like this. It's so good.
Yeah, it just keeps going and going, doesn't it? Oh, I just love this whiskey.
That's delicious.
So there is 2 bottles left at Ledger's Liquor in Berkeley, California. If you call up Ledger's, call up and ask for Ed. He's got 2 bottles. He could ship one to you guys.
And about what was the price point of that one?
$149.
Okay. Wow, that's delicious.
Oh, I love it. So Jack's
couple super
daughters.
chats. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Super chat.
Oh, yeah. A couple super chats coming in. Like I said, we're going to do the drawing here very soon. I'll give you guys a few more minutes if you guys want to get another entry in. Donnie says, I want one of those Glens, Slancha. I don't know. I need to learn. I need to brush up on my Irish. Thanks to Frank and Anne-Marie of Teeling for spending your evening with us tonight. Good luck to everyone. More luck to me, please. And then Patrick says, my only experience with Teeling has been Blackpitts in New Zealand back in March. It was pleasant. Wow. I was pleasantly surprised. Well, that's what we're about to move to, Patrick. So great segue. But go ahead what you were about to say, Frank.
So when we built the distillery, Jack had his 3 daughters, Allison, Natalie, and Rebecca. Well, Stephen hadn't had any kids yet. So when he had his kids, the stills were already done. So they have barrels. Zoe and Holly have barrels of single pot whiskey laid down. So when they're 18 years old, they will get this for their birthday. And this is a birthday party I will not miss, I promise you. So they have their own barrels of whiskey for their birthday coming in. And this is the very first barrel.
Why was my family not into distilling?
I know. So much fun, right? So now we're going to head into the tasting area. So when you come in, you leave your mark. You come in. We want you to write on the walls, have some fun, and we'll bring you in here. You can see everyone's just writing away and having a good time. You can actually see mine. Mine's up here in this top corner. I wanted to make sure no one else wrote over the top of mine, so I went up as high as I possibly could.
You were the only one that got access to a ladder, right?
There we go.
Oh, you did. You literally did. Let me full screen that. There we go. Wait, no. Are you on a chair? What are you climbing?
I got on the stool.
Oh, okay. So see, there's a hack, you guys. Now, if you guys want to write over his signature, that's what you do. You get on a stool. Just kidding. Please don't write over his signature. That's cool, though. That's awesome.
You add to the Big Frank was here. And so they want you to leave your mark. So you come in on your tour, and you hang out here, and they taste you on things. And then, we have little private rooms also for the, more VIP kind of tours that we do. And then we're going to head over to the Bang Bang Bar, which you don't actually even have to go on a tour to be. And the Bang Bang Bar is where you can get a lot of distillery only, older expressions, our world famous Irish coffee. Here, a lot of people come here after work. You'll see a lot of the locals here with us. And let's have the Blackpitts right now.
Let's do it. I missed a super chat come through real quick. Let me feature it. Adam says, Sláinte will definitely have Teeling on our list for our next trip to Ireland. Brandon also said earlier in the chat that he's planning to hopefully go there next year. So, Brandon, I'll hook you up with info on that.
Yeah, we'd love to host you guys when you're over there. Just let us know. The Irish are, some of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life.
I need to finish up. I only have 4 glasses. Oh, boo-hoo me. I need to finish up one of these other ones. Man, these have all been great. I'm really blown away. I mean, even, I said this earlier, but even the small batch has impressed me because price point for out here, it's only like $25. And I think that's probably the best sub 25 or less bottle of Irish whiskey I've ever bought. I think I have a new staple in my home bar because I love me some Irish whiskey and ginger beer. So I think that's going to be my new home bar whiskey. It's so good, but they've all been great. So I'm really excited for Blackpitts. I know it's going to blow my palate, though.
That's why we're doing it last. But the nice thing about it, you guys, is that this is 15 parts per million peat. So we start at 55 parts per million peat. And when you grist it, mill it, when you ferment it, when you distill it, and then barrel age it, it comes from 55 down to 15 parts per million peat. And then on peat, there's 5 levels of peat. Level 1 and 2 are living, breathing, organic. That's where the molds and the bacteria are breaking everything down. That's that bag of smegma that you buy to put in your garden. And then level 3, you go from organic to inorganic. It's transitioning, and 4 and 5 are inorganic. There's nothing left alive. It's been pressed down for thousands of years, and it's either going to become oil in like Scotland or diamonds, in other parts of the world. Mm-hmm. So we use level 4, 5. So you're going to get a barbecue smoke off of this one instead of that iodine asparagus nose that you would get off of like Isla whiskey.
Yeah, Bubble Bath Bourbon, another amazing YouTube channel here. He's saying Blackpitts isn't crazy peated. It's a pretty good gateway, pouring some now. So cheers to you. Thanks, Nate, for joining us for that.
Yeah, Nate. And so with this one, you guys, this is 2/3 bourbon barrels and 1/3 Sauterne casks. And so what that's doing is it's giving us this wonderful richness coming through that really helps out as it goes.
Oh, is that that's the Sauternes. Now, there's a whiskey competition that's happened here on YouTube. It's called Matt Madness. It was to try to find the best whiskey taster on YouTube. I unfortunately got not disqualified. I didn't make it onto the next round. But one of my training sessions, I bought all of the casks that you typically find whiskey finished in, and Sauternes was one of them. And the wine. I bought the actual wine that was in that cask to hopefully make some connection to my brain. Obviously didn't work because I didn't move forward. But you know what? I tried. But Sauternes, it's wine. It's such a unique. It's like a honey sweetness, and I think that's the dominant note. It's like a honeycomb. It has that kind of earthiness to it too. So I'm curious to see how it affects this whiskey.
Honeysuckle
really
and
has to
also
bounce
stone
around.
fruit.
Oh yeah, stone fruit for sure. Yes.
I get like
Oh, wow.
apricots and peaches.
On the nose, absolutely. I definitely get the apricot, whatever. I'm not very cultured.
I just love the way this smells. And like I said before, put it on oysters, absolutely delicious with it.
I'm going to try that. And if anyone judges me at the restaurant for that, I'm just going to blame you, Frank. Like, oh, he told me to do it.
We did it at Hog Island Oyster Company, and all the folks working there came running over, and they wanted to do it with us. So, yeah, it's a ton of fun.
Oh, wow. Okay. I just took a sip of it. Like people were saying, it's not very super peaty. It does have a lot of that influence on it, though. It's very, I think that the sweetness shines through just as much as the peat does. And maybe it is from the Sauternes cask, potentially.
Yeah,
but it's very balanced for sure.
So as we're hanging out here in the Bang Bang Bar, you guys, it's called the Bang Bang Bar because of a gentleman that used to live right behind the distillery. And when he'd get off the trolley or go in and out of a business after World War I, he'd come through and he'd go bang, 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 and he'd shoot everybody up with his fingers. So in honor of him, we have nicknamed it the Bang Bang Bar.
That's awesome. I was like, because a couple people were asking earlier on, they're like, wait, did he just say Bang Bang Bar? Yeah, he totally did.
So when you come in, here's our little gift shop area. It's not super huge, but here's one of my favorite things to do is we come over here and you can fill and label your own whiskey. And these barrels change from what's going on. You never know what's going to be there. When it empties out, we go to the next one.
Wow, so you can fill it straight from the actual barrel. That is so cool. Yeah. That's so interesting.
And then you can personalize the label to say whatever you want it to say on it.
Oh, that's so cool. Another super chat coming in from Bubble Bath Bourbon. He says cask strength Blackpitts soon. You can tell these guys love their cask strength whiskey. Is there a chance? Maybe can we cross our fingers and hope for that?
There will be. So this is the first time this whiskey was released this year. So we are at 46 alcohol. But as we go down the road in the future years, we are planning on doing some unique cask finishes that will be peated, and you will find some higher alcohols. But those are probably 2 years down the road before those come out.
Well, as a first peated release, this is delicious. I think, yes, people that are seeking out like the heavily peated, the high, ppm stuff may not be up to, their standards. But for someone said earlier, I forgot who it was, I apologize. They said, if you're looking for an entry into peat, this could be it. Because I think it's such an interesting flavor profile. It combines that sweetness, the traditional Irish whiskey notes with that peat. I think it's very, very approachable. And especially even at lower proof, I love high proof stuff. This proof point, it does not come across as, too low proof. It seems like right where it needs to be, especially for, the standard release. All right. Well, you guys ready for the giveaway? I think you guys ready for the giveaway. Of course, Spencer coming in with the last minute. I know we're a little over time, but I'll let it count anyways. Spencer Whiskey Hammer sent a super sticker. So we're giving away.
Let's get him a chance to get a couple more super stickers in, and I would love to just show you guys a couple pictures of what it's like at our distillery. So the first one is just unloading barrels off.
All right. Frank, do you mind if I interrupt you 1 second real quick? So I just want to do a reminder. If anyone wants their last chance, let me remind them what they can win. Well, you guys have them in front of you. If you guys want to remind them what they can win, give them one last shot in case someone's joining a bit late. So we're giving away 3 prize packs. The first 2 are going to be a coaster, or is it 2 coasters that come with it?
2 coasters with your initials on them. All right. And then up to 5 letters you can put onto it with Glencairn glasses and a little Teeling 50 mLs to go along with it. The next one will be Teeling camper mugs with 2 coasters with your initials on them and some 50 mLs. And then finally will be a La Cumbre Nitro Vanilla Latte Irish coffee, cold Irish coffee kit with Teeling glasses, metal straws, and some Teeling to go along with that. And we'll throw some coasters in for those folks too.
That's awesome. So you guys have a couple more minutes, last chance if you want to get another entry. But Frank, go ahead and show us the photos. I'm excited to see them.
So we get, we talk about 100 barrel types. So this barrel right here, oops. This one right here is my least favorite barrel I've ever tasted. And we won't even talk about what it is because it's so bad. But what it is out of those 100 barrels, we're going around tasting all these things. And I try with Alex, I go, this is awful. Why did you even fill it? He goes, if we don't fill it, we'll never know if it's good. And because the whiskey was super young, it might need to be, 5 years down the road, then all of a sudden it starts to get good. So that's why we got to fill all these different barrel types and see what they're about. And then everything that we do is small batch. So we've been putting on the date of the batch. Now we're going to say small batch 40, small batch 50 to it. And this is how we empty our barrels. One barrel at a time into the trough. We taste the whiskey coming out. We stir the trough and we taste it and go, it needs more of this. And we go get more barrels and fill, and we go. And our batches are 50 barrels or less.
I want to be the guy that's holding their Glen up to the barrel as it's pouring out. I saw that in that photo. I want to be that guy.
Well, we can definitely make that work for you too. That's just the beautiful whiskey color coming out. We don't filter anything or any of that, you guys. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to go. Here's Alex and Ian Wood is our master of wood. They drill in. You literally take a cordless drill into the barrel. So we stand all our barrels up because we're young. We're 6 years old. It's our birthday. We don't have the money to rick houses laying them all down. So we stand them up. So you go around and you go. Well, you'll see barrels that have, up high drill holes and then all the way down low. So everyone loves it. So they keep drilling down or down. And if you find yourself in that warehouse, every pocket on your person, you need to have flasks. And as you're going around, you go, I love that one. You fill that flask up. You go, oh, I love that one. You fill the next flask.
That's awesome.
And then we hit a plug and we plug it back up with plug.
Very cool.
Yeah, well, so it's kind of cool to be able to be there, to do some fun stuff, as it goes.
For sure. Well, we just got our last super chat entry for tonight's giveaway. Don Nishida says, I never win, but awesome stream, and I'll be looking for some Teeling. Well, Don, you never know because you might just win tonight. So let's go ahead and close. We're closing off entries. Go ahead, Frank.
Before you guys go, we have the Teeling Tribe, and if you guys go online, look up the Teeling Tribe. It's a group of Teeling fanatics, and we'd love for you guys to join. We send you a nice little locals pin. So if you see Anne-Marie or myself out in the wild, as I like to say, at a whiskey fest or at a bar, we'll buy you a drink if you got your Teeling Tribe on you.
There you go. I'm going to share my screen real quick so we can go ahead and do these drawings. Give me 1 second. Let me get that pulled up for you guys. I'm going to let you guys see the wheel of whiskey, which is what I like to call it. All right. So this is everyone's, cool. Yeah, everyone's name that has been entered. Like I said, every super chat, I randomized it a couple times just to make sure your names aren't all together because it's more fun that way. So let's go to win this. Like I said, we're doing 3 prize packs. The first one is going to be, you said the first one was going to be the
Black Glencairns and Coasters.
The Black Glencairns and Coasters. So this first winner gets those. Let's see who our first winner is tonight. Is it Don Nishida? The man who literally just said, I never win anything. Well, Don, congratulations. You just won. You just won an amazing set. So Don, see, that's what that's your last little effort. You're like, I never win, but let's try. You just won. So
Don, what initials do you want on your coasters?
Yeah, well, I can connect. Well, either way, yeah, you can tell him now, or yeah, Don, let him know now if he wants to write it down. But congratulations, Don. That's awesome.
Or you can you can send it to Clifton. He can send it to us.
Yeah, I'll collect all that info and send it to you guys just so you don't have to keep up with it now. Okay. All right. This next giveaway is for the set of, you said
2 camper mugs.
Camper
so camper mugs, like a giant coffee cup with it's like a Yeti cup for you.
Gotcha.
With coasters and some 50 mLs.
Gotcha. So Don says he wants DON on his. So I'll remind you guys that. Don't worry about like keeping up with it now. Well, Don, that's awesome. Maybe I can bring it to you in person, Don, when I go to Hawaii in September.
Perfect.
All right. So next winner is for the camping mugs, like the Yeti kind of cups, and then the coasters. So let's go and spin the wheel of whiskey. Come on, guys. Now again, you can only win one prize. So if by chance Don gets again, we'll spin again just to make it fair. Oh, that was real close. So that one goes to Patrick, Bourbon Noob. Congratulations, Patrick. Please reach out to me after the show. I mean, I have both of y'all's contact info, so it's not a big deal. But congratulations, Patrick. Now, before we get into the final prize tonight, I do want to talk about two things coming up on my end. Then I'll let you guys talk about where they can find you on socials. I do want to give a quick shout out. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we can focus on this. Okay, so this Saturday I'm doing another live stream. I'm going to be talking about Pride Edition whiskeys, including this.
Oh, so cool.
I'm going to be talking about like this vodka, and I also have an Absolute vodka. So we're going to be talking about. It's going to be a good discussion about, are these beneficial? Are they detrimental? It's going to be a really good discussion. So Saturday, tune into that. It's going to be a really fun discussion, and we're going to be trying all of these Pride Edition things. Now, I wish there was a Pride Edition whiskey. Can you guys work on that at Teeling? Maybe.
Yep.
Maybe. So
I love the idea.
So Saturday we're doing that, and then Sunday I'm going to be over on our friend Whiskey Mountains. Adriana, who was here in the chat earlier, we are doing a fundraiser for Alzheimer's. So it's for Alzheimer's research and treatment. So tune in on Sunday over on Whiskey Mountains. I'm going to be on with Jason from the Mash and Drum. We're going to be raising tons of money that night. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's for a good cause that's very near and dear to my heart. So y'all are going to see me 3 times this weekend. So sorry, not sorry. It's going to be a lot. Now you guys, Frank and Emery, let people know where they can find both Teeling and yourselves on social media. You talked about the tribe earlier. Is it like a Facebook group, or how can people join that?
You want to go, Emery?
Yeah, sorry, there's a little noise happening here in the basement. It is a Facebook group, the Teeling Tribe that Frank was talking about. So you can find me on Facebook, Anne Marie Roberts. If you type Teeling, Anne Marie Teeling, I should come up. You can find me on Instagram. I'm lightweight Luddite. Not great with technology. That's the story there. And Frank, he's got his full name up there. You can find him on Facebook and also on Instagram.
Yeah, mine is F. Jakubka when you find me, and I do Drink with Frank. So if you find F. Jakubka, you're going to find a whole bunch of doors. I have a passion for doors. I say every time a door opens, it tells a story. So
wait, like so, like actual like doorways, like you walk around town, so you like look at like cool doors. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
That's really good. In fact, let's do this. We will do a little trivia about a door.
Okay, let's do it.
I gotta find the picture. Sorry, you guys.
So you guys can find, I tagged them on my Instagram story if you guys want to give them a follow. Just check out my Instagram story. By the way, follow me on Instagram if you guys haven't yet. It's at Bourbon Bites. But check out my story. I put both of their handles there. So you guys go give them a follow too as well.
I should be more organized. I'm like,
oh, you're good.
Ask me anything about booze, I'm great. Otherwise,
don't worry. No, Emily is promoting the Teeling Tribe on Facebook. She just posted a link, so you guys go check that out.
Oh, thank you, Emily. So what does this mean, you guys?
What does it mean? Is now is you're talking about like if it was on a door?
Yeah, on a door, window. So is it raining on the inside of the umbrella or raining on the outside?
Inside.
So what that is during Prohibition, if you walk by a business and on the door or the window, they had that in there, it means it's wet inside. So if it was a hair parlor or a hardware store, there was alcohol in there. You would go in there to get booze.
You know what's funny?
For you.
Yeah, I was gonna almost say like it seems like something that would have been a prohibition like code word or something. That was my first thought too.
Yeah, so it's a prohibition code word. So there's one of my door things. So a little fun passion for you guys there.
Very cool. That's really interesting. That's awesome. People are guessing Umbrella Academy and Umbrella Corporation. No, I'm wrong.
Melrose Umbrella on Melrose Avenue.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and do our final drawing for the big giveaway here tonight. This is for the Irish Coffee
Cologne. So it's perfect for the summertime, you guys. You're going to get a Nitro Irish Coffee cold brew kit for the summer.
Very cool. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel of whiskey. Let's do it. Like I said, if someone's name lands twice, we're going to respin. Well, if it isn't the man himself, Ed and Erica from the Rot Gut Review, congratulations. Those guys are awesome. If you guys have not yet subscribed to the Rot Gut Review, check them out. They love Irish whiskey. They are always so. Honestly, you know what's funny, Frank and Anne-Marie? I was actually watching his stream earlier, and he has a barrel head from Teeling as like his backdrop on his stream. So I don't know if he's had you guys on or he's had other people on from the distillery, but he obviously is a Teeling Irish whiskey fan. So that's awesome.
I've got to go to the Rot Gut and check this out. This is perfect.
They're also,
we'll have some fun together.
Yeah, they had a bit of a hiatus, but they just returned tonight. Tonight was their first night back, so appreciate them stopping in tonight. And hey, you guys win some stuff, so thank you. It makes it worth it to come over to my stream after your stream. So, well, cheers to you, Frank and Anne-Marie. Thank you all so much. This was so much fun. I have learned that Teeling will now have a permanent place in my collection, and I'm not just saying that. I promise. Even again, the small batch is not that it impressed me the most. It was the biggest shocker of the night, how much I love that small batch. That is just an incredible, very affordable Irish whiskey. I think I'm going to always have a bottle of that on hand. But these special releases, I'm going to keep an eye out for those. Are you guys now, is there anything coming out soon that you guys have, whether it's like a single barrel pick from like Total Wine or something? Is there anything that you guys know that's coming out soon?
We're working on our single barrel sorry, I'm a stutterer. Working on our single barrel picks right now. So we'll have that coming out. And then we'll have Blackpitts, the second release of Blackpitts coming during October. And then in January, we are going to have a very special Chinkapin, Wonders of Wood. So we have a whole series of what you can do with these different finishes. So we will have a single pot still that is been aged and then finished in Chinkapin wood coming this year.
Wow, that's I don't even know what that is, but I'm just gonna be like, wow. that sounds awesome. I love that you guys are experimenting, trying new things. Everyone in the chat, thank you all so much for watching. Everyone's very excited. They enjoyed the stream here tonight. So thank you guys again. Cheers to you guys, and until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites. Cheers. And I'll see you guys on Saturday for a very interesting. We're gonna be drinking vodka and some Bud Light. It's gonna be weird, but it's gonna be fun. So I'll see you guys on Saturday. Cheers, everyone.